we're going to play this, Natalia, if you can go to that clip from the start. I want to play the full minute to 1 minute and 7 because I want him to say everything that, you know, is on his mind about this. Gotcha. Let's play it. And Jorge, just if you can make sure that Rollo and I can hear it as well.
Also, we'll be reading super chats in the end, so just keep that in mind. We do see them, and we'll be reading them out loud, okay?
I'm probably going to offend some ladies on the panel for saying this. So your question was, if you're with a girl, are you going to expect are you going to be monogamous to her because she's young and attractive and she's at her peak and she deserves monogamy and everything else like that, right? Is that sexual fidelity?
I mean,
mention that.
Not so much deserves it, but if you want that, isn't that, or is that this? I mean, if you want that, that should be something that you do as well.
Reciprocate?
Right. Or is this part of the whole thing that men and women are different?
Nope.
And
yeah, so you're wrong. And I'll tell you why. Sexual fidelity is a woman's role, okay? Security and provisioning is the man's role, right? A man is capable of providing for and fucking multiple women, all right? Because we're different. However, women in general are not okay being hoes and fucking a bunch of guys. Goes against their natural state. Monogamy goes against a man's natural state, and promiscuity in general goes against a woman's natural state. There's a reason why they call it a hot girl summer and not a hot girl year. Girls can't sit there and fuck a bunch of dudes continuously for years on end for the most part, or they prefer not to. If I left a girl to her own devices, what's she going to do? She's going to want the best quality man and get security from him. If I leave a man to his own devices, what's he going to do? He's going to fuck as many girls as he can. So if a woman is getting what she wants, the best man that she can get, and he's consolidating on her and providing her resources, well, I should be able to do what I want to do and have my natural proclivity to fuck as many girls as I can.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so I don't know where to start, Rollo, to be perfectly honest with you. But I think where I want to start is that what I'm worried about is that what this is now turning into is what I see happening with what we've talked about of modern feminism. And now I see it happening over here. What it looks like now is, for some, not for all, in the manosphere, is that it's a desire to make excuses, to excuse bad male behavior. Not all male behavior is bad. Not all male behavior is bad. I'm not here to, I think you've noticed by now in our conversation, I'm not here to handicap men. I'm not here to, you know, that's not what I'm doing. But there is bad behavior among men. And what really bothered me most about that was not what he said about women, but how he painted men. What a horrible view of men. I have a much better view of men than that. I don't think that men just want to fuck everything that walks. There are guys like that. But I also think there are guys that want a real relationship. I think there are guys that value fidelity. I think there are
every
guys,
guy wants a relationship at one
I think
point,
there are guys that
point.
want to get married and really respect the sanctity of that marriage. And when they go on a trip for work or whatever, they're not looking to stick their dick in everything. They're looking to do their job and be true to their wife. So that perception of men, it's like, wow.
That's not what he's saying, though.
But what is he? Tell me, first of all, do you agree? And what do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Because I'm sure you can't agree with everything that was there.
What is triggering you and most...
I don't feel triggered. I feel sad when I see that.
You do, because I'll tell you why. Because of the word should. That's why. I don't deal in shoulds. I deal in is. Okay. So what he's saying is, why shouldn't a guy, like I've heard Kevin Samuel say that, you know, God rest his soul. I've heard Kevin Samuel say the same thing, right? Men, a high value man should cheat. Should. That is a suggestion. That is a judgment call. That is a best practices kind of thing. Okay. Then that is the slippery slope that leads to only high value men have the ability to cheat, and therefore, if a man is cheating, that makes him a high value man, right? Causality and correlation. You know, correlation is not causation.
Right.
Okay? So
what is a better way to say it?
Okay. So what he's describing there, something that I've talked about on several occasions, is this. Okay. So throughout history, and I know you've already talked about this because Andrew Tate said this as well on several interviews, is that high value men throughout history, tribal chieftains, emperors in China, kings and queens and everything else. I don't care where it is throughout history. You can find it in examples of this in the Old Testament. Okay. Yep. High value men have been defined by three things. Okay. One of those is resources. So money, farmland, heads of cattle. Like today, it's about money, right? Like what do you have as a resource? We just sort of brought it down into something, you know, nuts and bolts, dollars and cents. Then we have territory. Okay. So what is your expansive territory? What is the tribe's, if I'm the tribal chieftain, my territory is this, okay? And I have to have guys who will follow me to protect that territory as well, because as I'm the chief, right? As a primary alpha male of this group right here, I have to be able to defend that territory, which usually correlates synergistically anyways with the resources. Usually you're taking the resources from that territory. And the third thing is this, is access to virginic women, exclusive access to virginic women. Okay, meaning this, you can go culture by culture by culture, and you can find this is true across the board. So this is not just some sort of ethnic variant.
But you do know that in a lot of those examples that you're giving, that those cultures in some cases were oppressive, and that women lived that way because they had to.
They were always that way, but I'm not. But I understand.
So they weren't happy. They weren't fulfilled.
It's not about
okay.
Stop with the feelings. I'm
just distinguishing between the time we live in now. This is all I'm doing. Now I'm not talking about feelings. I'm talking about distinguishing between the time we live in now, where women, there's not a structure in place that demands that women subjugate themselves to a structure like that, and a time where there was
completely irrelevant to what I'm talking about.
But not to me though. So I just want to make that distinction.
Point taken.
Okay.
So you've got guys who are the high value men throughout history who have been the tribal chieftains, the emperors, whatever. You've got the emperor of China and Ming Dynasty, whatever it is, and there's the forbidden city that is guarded by eunuchs who've had their balls cut off, so that they know damn well that any time the emperor goes in there to have sex with those women in the forbidden city, that any child that is produced is going to be of his genetic line. Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay,
so territory, resources, and access to a harem of some sort, exclusive access. Okay, so you've got all of that. Now that's the root of what Tate is talking about, and what Fresh and Fit are talking about as well. Okay, that is the root. Okay, what is the best practices after that? What do we do? Most men ain't the chief. They're not going to be the chief. They're not going to be the high value guy, okay? Now, why are we having this conversation right now is because since the sexual revolution, we have made women and men equal, right? And we have taken, with the invention of hormonal birth control, we don't have to worry about pregnancy anymore. So how has that changed the human dynamic? And I don't mean like social, I mean like across the board. How does that change society, politics, workplace, everything else? So what's happened now is you've got women who don't need the guy who's the good provider, the good, who's emotionally invested, and don't need the beta bucks, which is provisioning, protection, and parental investment, because they can get it themselves. They don't need it anymore. You certainly don't need to get married because you've already taken care of all the things that hell, even kids, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about long-term security.
That doesn't mean that you don't want to.
Let's talk about modern times. I know. Exactly. Hang on to that one. Hey, hold that thought. So you've got what we call there's alpha fucks and beta bucks. Okay, there's the guy that you really want to have sex with because he's really hot and he genetically has benefits that you want to say, I want to breed with this guy because my babies will be stronger, my son will be stronger, I will have a better reproductive success with this guy, but he's not necessarily the guy who's going to commit to you. He's not, because all the other women want to get with him too, because for the same reason that you do. Now, that's one aspect of a female mating strategy. The other aspect is what we call the beta buck side, right? Provisioning, protection, and parental investment. The good cad versus the good dad. Okay.
Here, I'm going to just do this for you right now.
I know you want the both.
No,
you
but
want the best of two,
and you can get it. And it's not about. Everything does not fit in a compartment. But I need you to focus.
I am because and I need you to understand how we get to that.
No, I understand. I understand historically. I understand what you said. We're in 2022 right now, though, and as you say, this is the reality that we're dealing with right now.
But you don't get to this without understanding the background.
I want to get, because you have a very different approach, as far as I can see, than they do.
Oh, yeah.
What I'd like to ask you, because again, you have a microphone and you have impact and you have a family. You're not a single guy roaming around. You have a child. I think you have one child, 24. Okay. Does that sound, what you heard in that clip, like the recipe for a healthy relationship dynamic?
From a female perspective, no.
Okay. Would you want your daughter, your 24-year-old daughter, to date that guy?
No. I would want what you just said.
So how
alpha fucks and beta bucks together?
So,
perfect. The good guy. Yes.
So then what I want more than anything, What I would love is for people like you and me to figure out a way to make that world possible again for all of them. And in order to do that, I need to call that out, and so do you. Okay, now I think, let me say this though, I don't think he's talking about cheating here. I think that's the wrong word. What I was understanding from him, cheating to me is something like you're with a girl, say, and you go behind her back and you cheat. That doesn't sound like what he's saying. To me, it sounds like what he's saying is this is a new model, like a relationship model that you're going to know. You walk into it, and this is what I am permitted to do by virtue of my male role, and this is what you're permitted to do and not permitted to do by virtue of your female role. Okay, so I don't see it as cheating. Now, I will say if a woman willingly walks into that situation and that's what she wants, more power to you. More power to enjoy. And if they find that union together and that works for them, it's none of my business. It's not my marriage. It's not my situation. But I will guarantee you that the vast majority of women who are looking for something real are going to hear that and they're going to cringe. If you like the short clip, you can catch another one here, or you can catch the full episode right here.